Hi guys, welcome back to another video of Beginner-Techies. In this video, we are going to discuss about design patterns explained from novice to expert tutorial. In this tutorial, we will explore the world of design pattern and learn how they can help us to create better software, right? Nowadays, design patterns are very popular among software developers. If you want to be a good software engineer, if you want to be a good software architect, then we should have a deep knowledge of design patterns, right? We cannot ignore design pattern. If you wanted to create reusable, scalable, flexible, maintainable code, then we should have a good command of design pattern. And we have often experienced that design pattern represent the best practices used by experienced object-oriented software developers. So we can easily learn about design pattern. This is not a rocket science. If you want to be a good software engineer, want to be a good software architect, then we should not ignore this topic. So let us understand the design pattern. So we will go in detail with each individual design pattern, right? We will explain we will understand the concept, we will draw the class diagram, and we will do the implementation part as well. So let us first understand the design pattern. Design pattern are proven solutions to recurring software design problems, offering the usable template for solving common challenges, right? We have often experienced software development often involves solving similar type of problem across different projects. So design pattern provide a structured approach to solving these recurring design problems. And it also focus on common challenges and scenario that developer frequently encounter. These challenges can include managing object creation, handling dependencies, defining behavior variations, or managing communication between components. These things happens, right? In those terms, we have to always think about based on our, like, whatever the problems we have, based on that we have to think about our designing approach. We have to think about our design pattern. Okay, by understanding applying design patterns, we can improve our code organizations, reusability and flexibility and scalability as well. If we follow the best practices, then our code will be well maintained and reusable, scalable, right? So I will cover a wide range of design pattern categorized into creational, structure and behavioral patterns. If we get handy of these patterns, these are the gang of 4 patterns. If we get handy of these patterns, then during the problems, we can simply think about which design pattern is best for our problem in our scenario. It doesn't mean we can use any design pattern randomly. We cannot use any design pattern randomly. We have to think about our problem, and based on that, we have to leverage the quality of design patterns. So let's embark on this journey to unravel the secrets of building robust and maintainable software solution using design pattern. Okay. So here we have prerequisites. The first thing, the basic knowledge of object-oriented programming concepts such as classes, object inheritance, and polymorphism. We should at least have basic knowledge of these concepts, right? Without that, we cannot move ahead. So we must know about these things first. Familiarity with a programming language like Java, C++, or Python, any of them is fine. At least that should be object-oriented programming. So the language should be object-oriented language. Understanding of software development principles and practices. So we should have at least some basic understanding of solid principles and the best practices, right? Introduction to the Gang of 4. So Gang of 4 is actually 4 authors: Gamma Richards, Rolf, and John. These are the four authors who have proposed these design patterns, element of reusable object-oriented software book, where they have proposed the idea of design pattern. So this book is published in 1994. Significance of the Gove book as a seminal work in the field of software design patterns. The book emphasizes the use of design pattern in the context of object-oriented programming. And they have proposed 23 design patterns that address common software design problems and provide reusable solutions. And they have mentioned a lot of things in their book. I have added few points over here. The gang of four authors drew from their extensive experience in software development and identify patterns that were proven in real-world projects. The gang of four authors' consideration of object-oriented programming. This is the key. First, we have to get a better understanding about object-oriented principles and their integration into design patterns. And third point, it shows how design pattern align with O principles like encapsulations, inheritance, polymorphism, abstractions, classes, object, etc. So before moving ahead, first we have to get better understanding about O's principle. The gang of four authors focus on OPS ensures that the design pattern are applicable to a wide range of object-oriented systems. Understanding the GOF book and the principle behind their design patterns can greatly enhance your software design skill. Right, so let's go through the gang of four patterns. So gang of four patterns has three categories. The first category is creational. Under the creational, we have these five design patterns: singleton, factory, abstract factory, builder, prototype. These are the five design patterns under the creational category. And the second category is structural. Under the structural design pattern, we have this adapter, decorator, facade, flyweight, proxy pattern, bridge, and composite pattern. And third one is behavioral pattern. Under the behavioral pattern, we have chain of responsibility pattern, command pattern, interpreter pattern, iterator pattern, mediator, memento, observer, state, strategy, template, visitor pattern. These are total 23 patterns. And they have proposed in 1994. And first pattern is creation patterns. Creation pattern deals with the process of creating objects in a flexible and reusable way. This is important, reusable and flexible. Okay, so these under whatever the patterns comes under these creational categories, the responsibility of those patterns is to create objects in a flexible and reusable way. These patterns provide solution for creating objects without specifying their exact classes or dependencies, right? Creation pattern allow us to decouple the object creation process from the rest of the code, making it easier to manage and modify. So these are the example of creation pattern we have already seen, right? Here are few examples: singleton, factory, and builder design. And the next design pattern is, next category is structural patterns. So under the structural, what is the responsibility of structural design patterns? The structural pattern deals with the composition of classes and objects to form larger structures and relationships, right? These patterns help in building flexible and efficient system by defining how objects can be organized and interact. The structural pattern enable us to create complex structures while keeping the code modular, reusable, and easy to understand. The example of a structural pattern we have already seen. There are few: adapter, decorator, facade, right? The third category is behavioral patterns, right? Behavioral patterns are concerned with the interaction and communication between objects. Interaction and communication between objects. This is the main role of behavioral design patterns. The next point is, these patterns capture the patterns of communication and provide solution for designing flexible and efficient collaboration. Behavioral patterns allow objects to work together effectively and dynamically, enabling them to adapt to changing requirements. Example of behavioral patterns. We have already seen the behavioral design patterns examples. Here are a few: observers, strategy. So key tips for effectively applying design pattern. First point is understand that problem before selecting a design pattern. We must do thorough analysis of the problem domain, requirement, and constraints, and identify the key challenges and areas where design pattern could be beneficial. We should not use any random design pattern. We have to use the right design pattern for our problem. So we should gain a deep understanding of the problem before deciding on a specific pattern. And the second point is choose the most appropriate pattern for the problem. So how can we choose appropriate pattern? So for that, we first have to familiarize ourselves with different design pattern and their characteristics. We should evaluate the strength and weakness of each design pattern. We should know the pros and cons of each design pattern in relation to the problems at the hand. We should select the pattern that best align with the problem's structure, behavior, and scalability requirements, right? And third point is adapt and tailor the pattern to fit the specific requirements. This point is also important. We should be understand that design pattern are not one size fits all solution. And the fourth point is consider trade-offs and potential impact on the system. We should be understand the trade-offs associated with using a particular design pattern. We should be evaluate the impact on system performance, complexity, and maintainability. We should be consider the long-term implication of applying the pattern and weigh them against the benefits. So these are the key tips to apply any design pattern. We have already discussed about the benefit and advantages of a design pattern, right? It will increase the scalability and adaptability of the system, and it will enhance the maintainability and readability. It will help us to get the reusable code and modularity. So if we are good in object-oriented programming and design pattern, then we can get beneficial in low-level designing as well. Because design pattern provide proven solution to recurring design problem, and they can be applied at various level of software design, including low-level components and modules. In low-level designing, basically, we often deal with the implementation details and interaction between individual classes or components. So if we just think about the behavioral design pattern, so what we do, like we are interacting with the individual classes and components. So design pattern can help us to structure and organize our code in a way that promotes reusability, modularity, and maintainability. So in low-level designing, we can leverage this benefit of OOPS and design pattern, right? So in low-level designing, we may encounter situation where we need to handle object creation. We require manage dependencies. We require define behavior and variations. So creational pattern like factory or builder can assist in creating objects and managing their constructions. A structural pattern like adapter or decorator can help in managing relationship and extending functionality without modifying the existing code. So these are the beauty of design patterns. Behavioral patterns like observer or command can facilitate communication and coordination between different objects. So by applying appropriate design pattern in low-level designing, we can achieve cleaner, more maintainable code, reduce code duplications, and improve the overall quality and flexibility of software, right? So this is the importance of design pattern, so that we should get a better understanding of design pattern. So in this tutorial, I will go in detail with each and individual design pattern. We'll discuss about the concepts, we'll discuss about the diagrams, and we'll discuss about we'll do the implementation part as well, right? So before starting design pattern concept, first we have to clear the prerequisite parts, because we should at least have a basic knowledge of OOPS concept. right? Right. So in the next video, we will discuss about the OOPS concepts. Then we will jump into the design pattern parts. Thank you. Bye bye. See you in the next video.